Hello, 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 everybody. Sorry about the delay. Having some weird technical issues in here. Still trying to get used to going live, and sometimes I have to reset up a lot more on this app than I'd like to. But I think that's just a learning curve. So, thank you for jumping on and joining me today, hanging out and being patient. Let me see. This light's killing me. See if I can get my audio turned up a little bit there. All right, folks. So, welcome to the Techiamo live studio, where what we like to do is first 15 minutes or so, some news, and then we like to jump in and get to all of the tech questions that you guys have. If you want to go ahead and jump into the queue, go to techiamolabs.com/live, fill out your question. Make sure to use a ton of detail. That way we can really help you. Tonight it looks like we've already got about 16 folks. Hopefully we'll get through everybody. But just jump in as soon as you can. That way you can reserve your spot. It is first come, first serve. You can jump a little bit with some paid tier stuff, but just take a look on the site, techiamolabs.com/live. So for the first piece of news tonight, I want to talk about this Xbox price going up. I think, we've seen this with Apple now. We've seen this with Sony now. Everybody's being very reflexive to kind of the pricing of everything in general these days. Microsoft officially confirmed this, and it's due to massive global component shortages in general. Flash memory is still skyrocketed. It's like 2.5 times, I think, what it was not that long ago. Maybe, 2 years ago max? It's a big difference price wise. The 512 gigabyte models are going up by $100, and the 1 terabyte models are going up by $150. Honestly, if you're gonna squeeze at that point for the higher, I would just go with the 1 terabyte. They have completely, it looks like, discontinued the 2 terabyte version. So, realistically, I know it's going to make some people pretty sore overall. I don't know if they're trying to move it to having less storage memory overall. I'm thinking they might try and push that towards a more premium option down the road, and I don't know if that's really the best goal or concept for them, just to be frank. Comment down below, though. I really want to know what you guys think about this. That means your Xbox Series S is going to be around like $599. Your Series X is going to be $799. This just really shows how cooked these global supply chains are in general. If you're on the fence right now about buying a console, Steam Deck even, like, it doesn't matter. I would probably not hesitate. It doesn't seem like the shortage is going to get better price wise at any point, and definitely if you're in the market for an Xbox, I'd get it before August 1st. That's when the whole price change is going to take effect. I've tried to keep an eye on this in the past with some of the other price differences as well. If there's anybody trying to kind of egg in early on that, try and grab some extra units and sell them, don't do that. That's not cool, but it is what it is. I've been in the reseller market myself for other things, so I can't really hate too much. But chat, I want to know, is an $800 Xbox completely out of the price range? I remember a lot of people complaining when the PS5 came out at $500. People were losing it. They were livid. And I mean, I feel like by the end of the decade, we're going to be at over $1,000 for a console. So it might be a coin flip, really, as to whether people are going to keep going with consoles at that point or just moving to PC gaming more naturally. I think we're already seeing that squeeze, to be honest. For the next news segment today, I wanted to bring up Sony killing physical media. I think we all kind of saw the writing on the wall with this a couple years ago. If you were honest with yourself, Uh, the new model is better for the orgs, way worse for you and me as a gamer. But in general, I think the entire market is moving this way, right? You spend a way less money on waste and shortages and all of the above, and that seems like a good trade off. But it does make you wonder. Sony just announced that the PS3 and Vista digital stores are shutting down forever in July 2027. So you still got some time. I'm not trying to fearmonger on here. Right alongside that, massive industry leaks prove that Sony plans to completely halt physical disc manufacturing by 2028. And like I said, I mean this writing's kind of been on the wall. Digital archivists are panicking over this. They want to save games before they vanish, and I don't blame people on that, actually. I think the all digital world is, in fact, a trap to some degree. I think there's some huge benefits, and that's how we're all going to end up in that place together. But there are some massive downsides to that. I mean, the ability to change what's available in retrospect. If you think about kind of what's happened culturally in the United States and much of the West over the last decade or so, it seems to me that there's an awful lot of game titles that if you were a studio, you might just have pulled off the shelf. Wasn't worth the blowback or whatever it was. Um, I think that's going to have a chilling effect on gaming studios. I think that's going to push more and more people towards indie games and, again, towards PC, like we've been saying. So I think this trend is here to stay. Let me know what you guys think, though. Are you guys still into buying physical discs? Or have you given into the full digital? I kind of know people on both sides of the equation there, and it's, like I said, going to be curious to see where everybody lines up. For our next news segment today, wanted to talk about the Switch 2 internal changes. So, the Switch 2 hasn't even been out that long. It already seems like there's some secret changes that are taking place overall, and I don't know what that means. A lot of this is coming from hardware leakers and stuff, so you got to take some of it with a grain of salt. And of course, there's always variants, especially in Nintendo products. If you've ever fixed them, there's weird variances in Nintendo. Um, but there's photos now of a Chinese resale site showing a brand new, unannounced LCD panel revision. And to be honest, I don't know if this is that. It's weird news because you think about how people are kind of getting pushed into the Switch 2, and it, I've seen really different takes on this. I've seen people talk about how some of the differences are big, are uh, really great for what the Switch is going to do going forward. But truthfully, I kind of line up on the other side. I feel like this is kind of like we were talking about with Sony just a moment ago, a push towards the digital chains of gaming. If you think about it this way, Nintendo has already created in their user agreements the ability to really hold you a different type of liable if you've actually transgressed against their software. That could be something as simple as a cheat code, right? And I think that's part of why they're doing this. It seems like it's going to give them the ability to weaponize some of the DMCA laws, maybe, to prevent people from using IP, as they put it, for unintended purposes, as they put it. So to look at a Switch and get pushed into a Switch 2, which makes that change very clear and very evident if you're a Nintendo lover. Um, I think you seeing any change internally that's kind of hush hush, kind of rumored about, I don't know that that really does the brand great. I mean, listen, Nintendo's not going to lose. We've kind of seen how they've skated by for years now, and I don't blame them. I think they've done a phenomenal job with their IP in general, but it does lead to questions for me. I think if we're honest with ourselves, uh, I don't think anybody has really felt. I'll say it this way: I still play it on a PlayStation 4. Uh, there's no reason yet to upgrade. Still, in my opinion, there hasn't been. If you're on a console, anyways, if you're doing PC stuff, you're in a completely different realm. Um, but the Switch, I've also got a Switch. The Switch 2 is the same issue to me that the PlayStation 5 kind of presented, where now on the Switch 2 you're kind of forced to because you're not going to have as many of the same titles across the board. And I think Sony, I've not really missed a game yet, I don't think, on a PlayStation 4. GTA 6, I think, is going to be the first one if and when one day it doth come out. Um, but it makes you wonder, more or less my point. I don't see the point of moving to Switch 2. Seeing them try to change internals on the backside, I don't know. I don't know what that means. Ah, it's a weird product placement, I think. All the love in regard to Nintendo, I'll always support them in some way, shape, and fashion, I'm sure. But it's just what it is with them. Now let's see. The next new segment actually kind of helps our industry out, and it's kind of on the political wavelength, so bear with us a little bit. But the White House just signed a massive executive order, and it really seems to be like it's going to affect the right to repair. Most people don't even know what this is, so I'll kind of give you a generic 1,000 foot view, as I like to call them. Basically, the right to repair movement has been built around basically just that. You should own the products you've purchased, and you should be able to make fixes to them or changes to them without being in any potential legal jeopardy. As somebody who's run repair shops, I've run into this firsthand because companies like Apple do not want you unless you go through their specific programs and do exactly what they say, exactly how they say it. They don't want you having the ability to fix the device. They made that very apparent between the iPhone 5 and the iPhone 10. They try to put everything in the way of preventing people from fixing these devices and making them irreparable, uh, making certain components function only on that specific motherboard so you could never swap it out. The truth is, this has been a huge issue for a long time, and the original right to repair movement started with automobiles. But now you'll see a lot of big names, us, Techiamo Labs, but you'll also see orgs like iFixit. They've been in this for a long, long time. I used to mess with them a lot at that time, in like 2014, under the name Refurb Madness. It was a lot of fun. I was just fixing devices, selling them, fixing people's devices. Um, but a lot of the right to repair stuff is kind of what's made physical repair shops more difficult to manage because you've got all of these organizations preventing technicians from actually doing the work unless they have some type of legal go ahead from the actual organization that made this. Now, the reason I called this a huge win for this whole thing is because it's called the Freedom to Fix Presidential Memorandum. So I'm not a huge legal nerd. I think that means it's basically an executive order. It could be overturned by another president or Congress or any of them. But it's the principle of the matter, I think, that kind of echoes forward here. We've seen massive lawsuits with companies like John Deere in the past, for instance, that have really tried to crack down on protecting what they call as their IP. So effectively explicitly orders the EPA to protect individuals and independent shops who are repairing their own gear. Um, they're effectively forcing manufacturers to release full service information, diagnostic tools, and data on reasonable terms, which directly competes with what I'm doing over here. But honestly, the goal of what I'm doing over here is for this information to be out already. So I think this is a huge win. I think it's a big cultural shift in the way we look at tech and technology. I'm convinced the more people who work on their own stuff and learn more principles of programming and just taking crap apart and putting it back together, um, I think it really is good. It makes you think like an engineer in a bigger way, and I think will help all facets of life. But if you buy hardware, the argument is that you own it, from the people who are right to repair activists like myself. Um, these organizations argue that you are effectively stealing their intellectual property by working on it. And listen, there is a weird fine line here. I take pictures of motherboards, I try to map them, I try to do all types of stuff for this brand, so that you guys are empowered to fix your products, right? So, to some degree, there is some type of intellectual property knowledge being, I don't want to say stolen because I don't see it really as stolen. I own the MacBook. If I take a picture of the motherboard or make a diagnostic page that I create, that's not Apple's property, right? The idea of the motherboard I can't sell, right? So it is kind of a weird gap, I think, with some of this stuff. But like I said, good cultural shift. Comment down below. Do you think it's better that we have more legislation like this that allows you, a user, to have access to tools and hardware and software necessary to fix things, but also be able to do it without being legally challenged in any way for doing so? Let me know down below. Last news segment of the day, and then we're going to get into repairs. So what I want, or not repairs, live help. So what I want you guys to do, if you haven't yet, jump to techiamolabs.com/live. Secure your spot tonight. Get in this live. We're answering questions about PlayStation, phones, laptops, you name it. If it's consumer electronic, even business electronic, I'll take a stab at it. See what I got. We have helped millions of people at this point. It's hard to quantify that because it's a lot of different social media platforms, but you can go through a lot of my top performing videos, look at the comments, they're hits. I love fixing stuff. That's what we get off on over here. We want everything to work better. So if you need something that needs to work better, techiamolabs.com/live. Jump in the queue. Last news segment. I have decided I'm going to start throwing some of my predictions out here, a little bit differently, because I want to have a track. I want people to say, hey, that guy said back in whenever. And I haven't done that a lot because it's kind of a risk. If you watch Gary Vaynerchuk, I think he talks to this a lot because he makes a ton of predictions and he's wrong a lot, but he's also right a lot. But here we go. So if this one doesn't pan out, it was the first one. You got to take the L sometimes. But I think it will. I'm pretty sure on this one. So my anchor prediction right now, because the era of this mid-generation, pro-tier, weirdly console, I think the update and the concept is officially dead. First off, their base products are now competing directly with computers. If you wanted to have a awesome $2,000 computer setup, you could have a great game life. Truthfully, though, I think a lot of people could probably get away with a $300 to $500 gaming rig and be straight. So when you're looking at buying a console that kind of ties you into the one waveform of playing video games, not even being able to edit videos afterwards or anything, you're kind of drying up that market base. So consumers are going to completely reject paying these prices, I think. I think the memory issue is an issue that's here to stay. So I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Uh, I just don't see a ton of people rushing out to drop $1,000 now on the higher tier, more pro tier, series of console. To me, that doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. Comment down below, though. It's one of those. You're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. You could kind of get into consoles if I've been seeing this a lot more when people kind of go get old consoles and repair them or something along those lines. You can get great equipment for really cheap. And I think people might need to start resorting to some form of that going forward, because this memory crisis is going to get much worse before it gets better. I don't know what it's going to have to take for us to realize we need to be reusing more of these computational devices more, and stop trying to have this kind of yearly upgrade cycle across the board. I mean, everybody's kind of chilled on that, but we're like around a 3 to 5 year upgrade cycle at this point. The question is, you shouldn't have to be involved in that. And when you're looking at dropping almost $1,000 for a console, you could get better pro tools just by going way of the PC. So let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm not the absolute authority on all these things, and it's one of those things that, truthfully, time will tell, right? Perhaps we'll start seeing a bigger increase in computers, and that'll kind of weigh in the favor of PlayStation and Xbox going higher with the pricing, but time will tell. So, listen, time to get into live help. If you've been here before, appreciate the support. Hang out with us. If you're new here, go to techiamolabs.com/live. You can see our full queue there. You can also watch our live from Twitch there, I believe, if the tool's working. Sometimes it works really good. Sometimes it doesn't. I'm reloading my web page right now. It looks like we're on air on the web page though right this moment. So when you go to the queue, you don't have to miss a beat. That's why we set it up that way. Let me see. Right now, looks like we've still got 16 folks seated or so. Looks like we got a bunch of folks jumping into our queue right now, so definitely appreciate you guys. Hopefully we'll get to everybody today. We'll go a little bit later if we need to. I'm not opposed to doing all that. Let's see. If you want, we do have 4 15-minute appointments towards the end of tonight. If you wanted to try and grab that, it's better to do that early. Same place. First question comes from @gibberish622. PS5. Mid playing my game, the PS just fully shuts off, and I have to unplug it and replug it back in. We're getting questions along this wavelength quite a bit. We've got a lot of PlayStation 5 content out there, so that might be why. Your PS5 is abruptly shutting down mid-game. If you have to do a full power cycle and you're having to unplug it, either your power supply is failing or it's critically overheating, I would probably, in this order, try a different AC plug, like an actual cable. You might have PSU failing in that. If you unplug it fully, perform a power reset, just press and hold the power button for like 30 seconds and then plug it back in. Before you plug it back in, I give this advice all the time on this channel here. go in, clean out the vents. People need to be doing that more on their PlayStation 5s. It's killing them way more than people realize. But completely clear it out and make sure it's in a well ventilated area. Let's make sure it's not choking. But basically, if the issue keeps going on, you're probably looking at Southbridge failure or PSU. Like I said, that's a lot of times what people see when they have to plug them in, unplug them, and plug them back in to get them to function again. What I'll do, gibberish, is I'll send you an email like we do. It's customary on our side now. And you will get a PDF workthrough of what we've actually talked about here. And then what I want you to do is if you keep having issues with this or if it doesn't solve that at that point, reach back out to us. We don't want to leave you guys high and dry. I think technology should be easily fixed if you allow it to be. So, next question comes from Whitney, also PS5. Mine still turns off mid-game, had it cleaned and thermal paste changed yesterday. What to try next? Ooh. So, first off, I always throw this out there. Had it cleaned and thermal paste changed yesterday. To me, Whitney, that sounds like you may have had that at a repair shop. Always consult the repair shop you spoke to. Sometimes they make mistakes too, right? And a lot of times they may damage something, and something might fall under warranty that you may not understand. Always worth reaching back out to. If it's still shutting off after you've done all that, we've definitely got a hardware fault somewhere. It's probably your PSU, though. I mean, if they really did a good job on the thermal paste, which I never make a judgment unless I look at the work over myself. But if you're still having overheating and choking out like that, you're probably looking at a PSU. Maybe try a different power outlet. Maybe don't try a power strip. I think sometimes those things can cause issues. If you try it on a different outlet and you don't have an issue, it was that outlet. Maybe get an electrician. Don't ever work on that yourself. But I think you're probably in a good boat with that one. Let's see. Get some of these moving. All right. Trying to keep up with comments and messages and oi oi oi. It's a lot on live, so bear with me. Sorry, guys. I see why a lot of these bigger creators end up with guys and behind the computer because this is a lot. And hats off to somebody who's been doing this for a long time. If you've been going live and stuff for a long time, I'm very new to this. This is our third episode. So welcome to our third episode. But I'm down to hear any tips, believe it or not. I think a lot of people get shy about sharing tips because they don't want to come across a type of way. But I'm not the guy to worry about that with. I'd much rather learn everything I can and kind of get this stuff figured out much better. So any tips on going live, helpful. Next question comes from Robert Sanchez, TikTok user. PS5 details Fortnite when I play with the wife and kids. They love it, but for a while now I can't play it on my Xbox. The game freezes, kicks me, and even completely shuts down my Xbox. Do you have any tips for this problem? My kids are 9 and 12. So this is quality family time. So first off, I couldn't agree more. I think having family game time is phenomenal. I love getting to play Fortnite with my kiddo, specifically. Minecraft too. She loves it more than I do, but I think that's just how the cookie crumbles. So for Fortnite freezing, kicking, and shutting down, it's a critical failure. First, I would probably go into your Xbox settings and clear your cache, your storage cache specifically. I think sometimes a lot of stuff gets jumbled just because of that. If that fails completely, uninstall and reinstall Fortnite. I think a lot of people don't want to rush to do that because they worry it's going to lose data. And listen, sometimes that's the gamble. What's good with Fortnite is it's all behind a login, so you shouldn't have to worry about that at all. Crucially, ensure your Xbox system is somewhere across the board where it's going to have a lot of airflow. Same principles as always with that. Make sure your software is fully updated as well, uh, especially on the Xbox side and the firmware on the controller. Sometimes uh, it's one of those things, but if you got a lot of different components out of sync with their different sorts of firmware, you can end up with all types of weird issues. So sometimes just going through and refreshing a whole bunch of stuff does a whole bunch of good. But yeah, I would do that and get back to that family time, man. That's great. Love hearing from especially parents on here. I think I get a lot of younger folks on here, and I think I get a lot of parents on here. Either way, we'll take it. Actually, comment down below. Are you a parent or kid when you see this? That's gonna help me know things about my audience. All right. So let's see. Next question is from Nixbl, NXBL on YouTube. It looks like Xbox. It's not working. I have a 50-inch Ruco TCL. It's 4K, but doesn't run 4K on 120 frames per second. So, first off, I always try and go with the smartest thing to check first. Swap your HDMI cable. Let's make sure it's not something dumb like that. Make sure it's actually going to have a good cable on it. Um, that happens a lot more than people realize. Um, Also, you might need to check the manual. Some TVs don't natively support 4K. We've seen a lot of that actually, where things are claiming native 4K 120 hertz support, and sometimes, not always. So that might be part of what you're running into. I don't know. Let me see. See if I can find that specific TV somewhere. A lot of those TCLs, TVs have gotten weird because they're just really cheap now. High quality in many ways, but also really cheap. And a lot of things are kind of enhanced that aren't really, but they're kind of fudged across that line. On your TV, I would probably find settings for the HDMI input. If you're using enhanced HDMI game mode or VRR features, make sure all that stuff's on. Verify your Xbox display settings are configured for 4K 120 hertz. Sometimes, if you plug it into a certain monitor at some point, it might change that to something lower or something different. And then when you plug it in, if it doesn't automatically catch on, you might end up kind of in the weeds with it. That would be my suggestion on that. I'll send you one of our PDF guides. I will say this also. I've seen more and more people using this tool that we've got on our website. It's called the Optimize tool. First off, one of our best tools, I think. It's $2.99 if you run it. Worth it $100, I think. Basically, you go in, you put in your actual monitor, the console you're using, and the remote control you're using, and it figures up exactly what you need and exactly what type of settings you should tune it to. You can kind of toggle it between a few different options as well if you're aiming for like a kind of aiming for streaming or if you're aiming for better this or better that. But it's a really great tool. It's nice too because you can go use it anytime. It's just right there. You don't have to rely on jumping onto our lives and having us available at the time you have your question. Right now it is 7:36. We are working through our queue as fast as we can. Nixable, thank you so much for the support. We are going to take a 2 minute break and then we'll be back. We want to make sure that we're getting everybody helped out. So if you've not already jumped in the queue and you need tech help, be it on your laptop, be it on your cell phone, be it on your console, your anything at this point in time, I'm pretty proficient at helping people fix stuff. Jump into the queue. Go to techiamolabs.com/live. Go ahead and fill out your information. Put in a detailed description. A lot of times when we do end up in an issue where we can't fix somebody's problem, a lot of times that's just simply because we haven't had enough information. We'll probably clear it up after the fact with our follow-up emails, but a lot of times it's just easier to get stuff answered here. But we're going to go on a quick break, and then when I come back, we're going to work through the rest of these as fast as we can. So go ahead and jump into the queue. We'll see you guys soon. All right, folks, and we're back after our short little break there. Hopefully, you guys don't find those too annoying. I've been told by multiple folks now that that's the best way to handle it for Twitch. They like their advertisements, unfortunately, and I can't blame that. You know, whatever has to keep the lights on has to keep the lights on, right? So. And we're back after our short little break there. Hopefully, you guys don't find those too annoying. I've been told by multiple folks now that that's the best way to handle it for Twitch. They like their Hold on a second, guys. Sorry, try to keep. My audio issues are all over the place sometimes. It's great. It really is just awesome. Again, like I said earlier, if you've gone live for a while now and you have some tips, let me know. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. But not so difficult. We're going to be doing live tech support here for the next hour and 15 minutes or so, hour 18 minutes or so. If you want to jump in our queue, go to techiamolabs.com/live. That way we can answer your tech issues tonight. We can answer them for consoles, remote controls, you name it. We fixed all types of stuff. And we're going to continue trying to help people fix up everything because we think you should kind of be in a good boat when it comes to your technology in general. Next question comes from Dennis. It looks like Dennis is on TikTok. Thank you for the support, Dennis. Dennis is Xbox. I've got a AOC 240 hertz monitor, and I play on Xbox Series S. Will it make a difference if I put it on game mode? Ooh, that's a good one. So, yes, I always say try game mode on everything. Use it on your AOC monitor. It's going to drastically cut lag, most of the time especially. It's going to deliver you a far more responsive gaming experience, especially for competitive play. It's one of those things. I think game mode and monitor settings are weirdly diminished. People don't really like to look at them. But the truth is a lot of folks end up in a boat where they really are having a lot more input lag from that than anything else. That and old HDMI cables. I'm so sure of that. It seems such a silly thing. But a lot of people end up in that boat. So definitely keep that in mind. Good question, Dennis. We're going to mark you as resolved. I'm going to send you a follow-up email. If you need more help from that, definitely let us know. We never want to leave anybody high on dry on our setup. That's why we do this whole thing in the first place. Moving right on to the next question. We have, Riley on TikTok. Your usernames are killing me, honestly. I might have to do a different thing. Not have you guys put in your user handle, but like your actual name. Anyways, this person has Galaxy A14. The A series is a lovely series. It's a great price point, but they really keep us busy across the board. I think a lot of people have them, and it causes a lot of people to have a bunch of weird issues because of it. Mine won't open, but it vibrated when I plugged in the charger and did the sound button or volume button same to power button. Still, it didn't open. My phone is a Samsung A14. Okay, so vibrates when plugged in the charger. You try to do a soft reset. Doesn't sound like that did anything. You're probably looking at an LCD issue on that device. I think, yeah, they still have LCD on that one. I would, if you can, try to do the soft reset again. Sometimes people mess that up. Sometimes the buttons are messed up and you can't do it easily. So if you need a refresher, volume up, volume down, hold the volume down and power button simultaneously. Just hold those two for an A14. You're going to hold that. It's going to feel like forever maybe. If your device has an LCD issue, you still won't see anything. You'll feel it vibrate. You'll feel it go through the motions of kind of going through a restart. You may even hear the startup sound and all that, depending on what your sound settings are set up to. Um, Make sure you've got it fully charged when you're trying it again. But yeah, you're probably looking at a critical fault on the LCD side. That's never fun, but the good news is it is repairable. The problem with the A series is even though they are also repairable, they're pretty cheap price wise. So if you can get a really good cheap repair, it's totally worth it. Not everybody ends up in that boat though. I've seen people have to spend like a couple $100 on a screen repair for an A series. Don't do that. A brand new, what is it? I just looked at the other day. A37 or whatever they're at now, was like $200. I'd go that route. Don't drop all that on a screen repair. Uh, Unless of course you need the data. There was a period of time there where people needing data from their devices is what kept a lot of people in business, I swear. It's unfortunate we don't like to talk like that, but when you're in the repair industry, you do kind of have a different view on it. Speaking of 4th of July weekend, this was my favorite weekend to work after because we got so many water damage repairs after. Uh, I did this a lot before people really adopted the cloud services. So a lot of times people ended up in a boat where they were paying me just to save their data. With that note said, before we answer the next question, make sure you've got your devices far away from water or in some safe setup. It's amazing to me how many phones that have been bought of rivers and lakes and you name it. Don't do that. Have fun. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the 4th. But also don't do that. We don't want to damage as much as we can prevent damaging in the first place, right? All right. Next question. If you want to jump in our queue, techiamolabs.com/live. Jump in, throw in your details, and we'll answer in the order in which you guys line up in there. Next question goes to Christian on the device PS5. Could you help me? My PS5 doesn't shut down, and when I'm on the main screen, but when I go to the game, for example, a Roblox game, it immediately shuts down. I already cleaned it, but it still does it. Could you help me? Yeah, so you've got a PS5. Um, if it's crashing only when you're launching games, Roblox is not a crazy hard game, but I mean that still points to a hardware failure. You're under enough of a load to where it's killing something in your unit. First off, I always tell people to stop using it immediately. Don't keep trying to do something. If it looks like it's cooking your unit and you keep going for it, you're going to really cook your unit. We don't want that. Power down. Disconnect everything and anything. I would, first off, I say this 1,000 times every live, I swear. Make sure you take off the side plates of your PlayStation 5 and clean the dust. That is a silent killer to everybody's unit. You're probably looking at a power supply or another critical thermal issue here. The problem with you've got three main culprits when it comes to the PlayStation 5 for this issue. You could be running into some weird early signs of a Southbridge failure. It could be that your PSU is dying, or it could be that you have this liquid metal issue. If it's not dust, that is. So clean out the dust. I would try that first. Um, Always try different cables. Anywhere you can kind of try to change out that back end power wise, do that. Don't plug it into an extension cable. Don't plug it into surge protector. We want to only test the PlayStation 5 specifically. The other thing, and I try to remember to say this to you guys, I apologize because I always forget. Warranty, man. If you have had this unit and it's not been that long, always call into the warranty. You never know. Actually, I'll use a great example. There was a long period of time there, and it might still be true. Keep this between us. Don't let this become the viral clip you guys choose tonight, because it'll blow the whole top off, I'm sure. There was a long time where Samsung said on their flips and folds that they were only warranting that screen, that inner screen, and that inner screen protector for 1 year. That was it. But I know of multiplicity of people who were able to go through their warranty process and get a claim after the fact. I know a multiplicity of people who've been able to get a claim, 2 and 3 claims, where it was clear they would only do the one and they were supposedly not going to do the next. But a lot of times, companies, especially if they have a known fault or issue, will automatically try to offer up warranty services so that they don't end up in situations with like bad reputation or class actions or stuff like that. So always check, always check, always check. That's my best advice tonight, I promise you. But always check. You'd be shocked. I had a buddy a couple years back. He had what was it? It was the Beats Pill XL. And it just stopped working out of the blue. He was going to go, I think he wanted to move to a JBL or something like that. Anyways, I basically gave him this advice. He went to Apple. The unit was recalled because it was catching on fire spontaneously. So what they did, I think he got a $300 gift card. He paid for his whole speaker that way. So you never know. You never know. Always check. It's always worth that double check, at the very least. So let me see. So Christian, that would be my advice to you, in that order. Hopefully you don't have to go the warranty route. Hopefully it's the dust. That's always the easiest one, or surge protector, something like that. But that's kind of where we're at with that one. I'll send you a follow-up email. Make sure if you got more problems, respond. Like I said, we never leave anybody high and dry here. Next question goes to Mark Mew6BC. Device is an LG TV. VRR won't work on my LG TV. This happens a lot. So if it's not working on your LG TV, VRR is variable refresh rate. A lot of times, you got to go into those monitor settings. You're going to want to enable game optimizer mode or something along those lines. Also, check the HDMI cable. A lot of times people end up with crappy HDMI cables, and that prevents a lot of these from getting to the TV in the first place. Explicitly turn on VRR within your TV's picture setting. If you're just doing it or trying to do it just from the console side and it's not on the TV side, you're not going to get it. Next, confirm you're using HDMI 2.1 cable. Make sure you're using the port on the TV. I say this advice a lot. It seems goofy. It's one of those things that people run a mess on that all the time. Finally, ensure VRR is also active and connected on your console or your PC. These are just quick checks, and a lot of times you'll get problem solved on these. Another thing, I keep forgetting to say this too. If you actually try the thing we said on our live and you come back in time, like I want to see what kind of impact we're having, honestly. So if you do get help from our question, jump back to the live, comment where you can. I'll try and keep up with it at all possible. Super important to me, actually, because I want to make sure we're getting you guys fixed and that other people see that we're helping you guys get stuff fixed. That's the only way the news kind of spreads and we get every device fixed possible, right? We want to make sure everything is optimized so that you have a great technological life in general. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. We are moving through our list right now. If you haven't yet and you want to jump to our queue, go to techiamolabs.com/live. jump in our queue right there. Without further ado, our next question goes to Fromage Fred. Uh, I think some of these names are going to get me in trouble at some point. Don't do that. Device PS5. Mine doesn't even stay on long enough for me to start a game. All right. So, a lot of times, let's make sure you've got ventilation. Make sure you've got ample room around your PlayStation 5. We're going to want to make sure, take off the plastic sides. Super easy to do. I'm going to do it one day on a live or something so you guys can see. But take them off. Make sure you don't have a bunch of dust choking out your system. That happens a lot. Also, if you're in the comments, I want you to let me know, are you actually having it turn on? I do have that question for you. Sometimes people end up in a boat where they're not able to turn on the device. Like it's starting to power on, and they'll kind of word it the same way. I want to make sure that's not the issue, because that'll be pointing to something different. But ventilation, and then you're probably, if you've got everything ventilation wise kind of figured out, I'd probably take it for repair or do yourself. I always get told I shouldn't tell that to people, but you got to figure it out somehow. But it might just be the liquid metal issue. I say this like 1,000 times live, it feels like. It's a weird issue, but the PlayStation 5 liquid metal migration kills units every single day. I get crap when I say that. People get so mad, calling me a conspiracy theorist. I've been doing the repairs, bro. I've seen the data. I talked to repair guys as well. Like, it is what it is. You might be running into this issue. I've seen this a lot more and more. I think more units have just kind of reached that age spot where even if they were in the best of conditions, it's a shaky material and it causes issues. So that would be my advice to you. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and send you an email so that we can follow up after the fact. That's what I do in, between some of these guys. So sorry it takes some time. I want to make sure that we're able to keep in touch. It's important to me that we're actually fixing issues and not just wasting people's time. Let's see. Who do we got next? If you want to jump into the queue, go to techiamolabs.com/live. That way we can know what issue you're actually running into. A lot of times we've been getting through the whole list every single night thus far, so I'm hoping we can do the same today. We had a little bit more chunkier questions though, so we'll see. Let's see. Next question comes from Fred P. PS5. I've cleaned my PS5, rebuilt database, cleared cache, and it's still turning off mid-gameplay. So, first off, hats off to you for cleaning your PS5. That's always where I have to tell people to start. When I say add details, that's kind of what I mean, folks. Make sure you're putting in enough stuff. So I know some of the things you've tried. I don't want to tell you goofy stuff. Stuff you've tried 40 times now. That's not the goal here. So you've cleaned your PlayStation 5. You've rebuilt the database. You've cleared the cache, and it's still turning off mid-gameplay. If you are... we're probably looking at liquid metal again. I hate to say that. I hate to keep jumping to that. That's probably what we're looking at here, though, unfortunately. I think for a lot of folks, the liquid metal is nice in theory, right? And I think that's the problem. I think some folks don't want to believe that could be the issue. But, brother, that's what's going on, Fred. So, listen, get that fixed. I'm going to send you a follow-up email. And then when... hopefully that'll just be the end of it. We'll see. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to put me on a brief hold for 1 second, grab a drink, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back again. Just trying to make sure I'm keeping everything in sync right now. It's funny, I've got like a 1 second delay on TikTok Live, it looks like, and maybe like a 30-second delay on YouTube. That's crazy how different that is. Um, I love these live systems, but they kind of make me wonder a little bit. All right, we're doing live tech support, so if you're new here, go to techiamolabs.com/live. Not only can you watch the live there from our Twitch, but you can see who's next in the queue. You can see how many people are there. You can also sign up to be in our queue. We like to get as many of these answered every single night. Next question goes to Leon. My PS5 turned off mid-game and deleted and won't turn on since 10 minutes. Okay, so first off, take a deep breath, man. That's not fun. Strange timing to catch us here, but let's see. I would probably have you do a total power reset first, unplug it on all ends. Make sure when you test it again, don't use a power supply or anything. Press and hold the power button for 10 seconds, but leave it unplugged for like 5-10 minutes. This helps out a lot. Just kind of clear out the capacitors on there if you've got like some weird dirty power in there. Next, if that doesn't work, test save mode. A lot of times it's easy to do. You press and hold the power button. It's going to beep. You keep pressing and holding for like 7 to 10 seconds, and then it'll beep a second time. It'll go into a different mode, and then you can go to it's safe mode at that point, sorry. And then go to option 5, clear cache and rebuild database. That is going to be probably what fixes it, is one of those two. Of course, make sure you don't got dust. But if you've done that, you might be looking at a blown power supply or a bad cable. Swap those out. A lot of times it's just something like that. Make sure, too, I've caught a lot of these on live recently where people are using a wall outlet that's bad. Try a completely different wall outlet. Give it a shot. If all of those things failed, you might be looking at a blown power supply or shorted motherboard rail. Totally common issue to have. You can either try to fix it yourself at that point in time, which I encourage at points if you feel comfortable doing such repairs, or you can take it into a repair shop, and having a diagnostic understanding of what's going on with it is going to make sure that you get a good deal on the actual repair and be able to communicate with the repair tech a little bit better. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Leon, for your patronage here. If you want your questions answered live on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, X, you name it, we're like everywhere now, even verified on X. I never thought that would happen. But I guess here we are. You can jump to techiamolabs.com/live, jump into our queue. You can also watch our live from there and the queue. Some folks like doing that. Next question goes to @whale from YouTube, it looks like. Uh, the device is a monitor. I have a full HD monitor, 120 hertz. 120 hertz. I want to upgrade to a 2K monitor. Is it still gonna run smooth 120 frames per second 2K? All right. So first off, your game has to support it. This is an unfun talking point. A lot of games don't support stuff like that natively. A lot, a lot of systems still are doing a weird upscaling thing. So yes and no. The game by itself has to have that performance mode built in. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. Dynamic resolution. There's kind of a secret to dynamic resolution. Um, it's not the hardest thing to kind of mess with, and I think the HDMI port trap is really another big thing with this. I think a lot of folks end up getting a really really good device, great monitor, but it'll have a 2.0 to HDMI port, and that's that. That's the hardware limitation at that point in time, and it's terrible. I wish. It's interesting because things can be spec'd on the motherboard. They can be spec'd on the OLED or on the LCD, but they don't have to support any bit of that, actually. And we've seen that over the years more and more. Everything's upscaled to some degree or another, or downscaled, or warped, or changed. It's a digital ecosystem now, man. So you're going to end up with a lot more of that weirdness in between. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I think. Look, I like upgrading stuff, Whale. I do. It gives me the same primal lust of things that everybody gets when they get new stuff, right? I sometimes feel ashamed by that, but I think sometimes, yeah, I'm gonna say it this way. I saw a guy on TikTok the other day, or today rather. He is playing on an old tube system, and the reason he's doing it is because he doesn't have any image warping. So the truth is, sometimes chasing the upgrade isn't the way to go. It's unfortunate. I wish it was always the clear and concise path, but it's not always. Not always at all. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Try not to cough into the mic, guys. I apologize. Don't have anything or anything. Just you're not gonna catch it, so it doesn't even matter. But I talk a lot on these lives, man. It's hard. It's hard to do. Hats off to anybody who's been doing this for a long time. This is a goated profession, in my opinion. It's hard to do. It's hard to be entertaining. It's hard to be smart enough to do this. It's even harder to make money doing anything online. But it's really hard to talk forever. And if you know me personally, you know I'm a talker. You know I can basically go on forever. So, kind of weird. Kind of weird. All right. We're doing live tech support here on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, X. Comment wherever you are. We're just trying to get people's stuff fixed tonight. If you have tech you need help with, jump to techiamolabs.com/live. We can absolutely get you helped out. Just jump into the queue. We don't want to skip anybody, but you can skip people. There's a way for you to do that in the payment section. Just keep in mind when you're looking at the queue kind of how that's lined up. Next question goes to Mari on an Xbox. Why can't I do variable refresh rate or auto low latency mode? So, this is one that I get a lot, and truthfully, um, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. First off, you're likely seeing this on the Xbox side. I think most people see that on the Xbox side when they encounter that. I don't think there's a way to see that on a monitor side. First off, you need to make sure you're using the right HDMI, port 2.1 across the board. If you go 2.0, you're not going to get what you're looking for. Make sure you are not letting one of the systems override your HDMI. Go to settings, general, TV and display options. On the far right, select video fidelity and overscan, I think it's called. Basically, you're going to want to make sure that you change that HDMI or DVI back to auto detect. I think auto detect is super beneficial across the board for this stuff. If you Auto detect is kind of a double-edged sword in a way, because sometimes it works phenomenally, and when it does, it's phenomenal. It's amazing. Sometimes it causes issues though, and hopefully you're not dealing with that. But a lot of times it's just settings, or like I said, the HDMI cable. Um, it just a lot of times some feature conflict, right? HDR or motion blur. Some of that stuff can cause issues on one side or the other and make them not communicate the way that they need to. So sometimes it's tricky. What I will say, and I'll plug our own tool here, if you go to techiamolabs.com/optimize, you can go in. It's $2.99. You can put in your exact model number of your monitor, your exact console, your exact controller, and it will give you the best configuration for what you're looking for. Try the free advice first, Mari. That's what I would suggest. I'll send you a follow-up email. Like I said, we don't want to let you feel high and dry at all. But if you keep running into this, that might be a good tool to consult. I've started consulting it on my own stuff because it just makes things a little bit smoother. You don't have to play as much of a guessing game when you use that. It just tells you kind of what's nice with the tool is it kind of has some of the known issues with some of these monitors and TVs somewhat well figured out. So if you're plugging into one of the ones I did recently was an Insignia. I was having an issue where it was an auto detect issue actually, where when I would go through playing on a PlayStation 4, it kept cropping the image weirdly. So I would go through, I'd go change it in the PlayStation settings. I would go back to the TV and toggle around some of the internal settings, and it just something kept triggering it to go back, and it was just annoying. And I actually just threw it into my own tool, and it gave me the right answer. Like it was a stupid setting that I kept overlooking, and I was going to continue to overlook it honestly. Even though I do this professionally, it doesn't mean that I always have the right answer. So that's why we build tools, because we're only as good as our tools in the long run. So if you need a tool like that, Mari, or anybody, techiamolabs.com/optimize. Looks like we are at 8:15. We've got about 45 minutes of answering live questions. If you haven't yet, go to techiamolabs.com/live. You can jump into our queue there. We're trying to get through as many as we can tonight. This might be one of the first nights we don't get it done, honestly. But you can kind of jump ahead of some of these folks. Just jump to a better tier. It's worth it in my opinion, but we're going to be doing this until about 9 o'clock every single day going forward. So hopefully you guys are finding this useful. We'll be clipping up a lot of these after the fact as well. Next question goes to Hoshi for a Galaxy Tab. My tablet is still stuck in Samsung's screen. I will need help, y'all. I already tried this method. I'm thinking they're talking about the restart, because we've talked about that like 4 times tonight. So, first off, the tablets are a little bit weird. You just said Galaxy Tab, so I can't really tell you for sure. Samsung and I think Apple have had a lot of issues with figuring out their button triggers for that. The Galaxy, Note 10 started with the same restart feature they're using even all the way now to the 26s. So, But the tablets haven't been the case on that. They've got several different weird button combinations. So first off, make sure you're doing the right soft reset mode. A lot of the advice I've given on that tonight has been on phones, so it may not be the same for your specific tablet. I wish you would have said your tablet here, so I could have actually tried to guide you on that a little bit better. First off, I would try to maybe do the plugged-in recovery secret. That's where you take a USB cable, plug it into your tablet and into your PC, laptop, or whatever. I've even heard you can plug it into a game console and trick it in the same way, thinking it's hooked to a computer. Maybe try that. If you do try that, let me know. I'm curious about weird stuff like that all the time. But don't plug it into a standard wall charger. That's the thing we want to prevent. It needs to sense that there's computational power on the backside of that, right? Now you're going to force the tablet to do a shutdown. Hold the power button and the volume down button. That's a lot of the times the case for tablets, but like I said, there's been some weirdness over the years with that. So depending on which one you've got specifically, keep holding that until you see the Samsung logo. If you let go of the power, or at that point let go of the power button, but keep holding the volume up button. You're going to see a black screen, and you're going to get yellow text. That's kind of the safe reboot mode. It's the Android recovery menu is what that's called. I would probably go through and wipe clear my partition. Wipe cache partition. Jeez, it's a long night. Sorry, y'all. And then once it's done, it's going to reboot system now. But I would probably do it that way. Worst case verdict, if it refuses to go past the Samsung screen, you may need to go through a real recovery mode, factory data reset everything. You can do it in that same menu, believe it or not. Sometimes you're just dealing with bad NAND memory or something along those lines. Corrupted NAND memory is what it's called. I try to use more technical stuff on here while sprinkling it in with the fun normal people talk for tech. You know how it goes. But yeah, if you've got an NAND memory issue, you need to go through and wipe that thing, and that'll fix it. The other possibility here, we're in summer, so I got to bring it up, water damage. If you've gotten water on that, this could be part of that issue. Only you're going to know that, though, so you may need to take it to a repair shop in that case like that. But if you've not had water damage and you've erased it and you're still running into this issue, what you're probably going to run into, Hoshi, is needing an actual battery replacement. Sometimes we like to think these devices can last forever, and I think pretty well can if you take care of them pretty decently. But those batteries, man, they do got to be replaced. That is the common failure point for a lot of people's devices at this point in time. So keep that in mind. That might be the issue, but try the other stuff first. Always try the free stuff first. Hopefully you've got a good backup on there so that's not an issue. But we're kind of beyond that at this point, so keep in mind. Next question goes to the device is the internet. Why my Wi-Fi keeps losing internet. No internet after 4 to 6 minutes, and after 3 minutes it back again. Okay. So first off, I want to acknowledge that's an absolute nightmare. I hate dealing with internet issues. You're probably dealing with a DHCP lease time glitch or something like that. A lot of times that's just a firmware update on either the computer side or whatever device you're using, or the internet side. Maybe give that a look. You might be dealing with double NAT. So something I like throwing out here a lot, and I'm probably going to build a tool for this too on our website. I've been finding that much more helpful for folks in general than trying to send you guys somebody else's tool. That way we can kind of help control if we are going to charge for it, because sometimes these things do cost. what we're going to charge for it. We have a very different philosophy in charging. We try to not charge for things where possible. It's not always possible. But I'm saying that because a lot of other orgs like to charge for stuff. There's apps and stuff out there. The reason I'm saying this is apps that'll help you kind of figure this out. Sometimes some providers have an app that they use internally for your system. I highly suggest downloading those. A lot of times they've got tools, and when I reference tools here, you can actually go many times. You can go into their settings on one of those apps and type in DNS settings, and it'll just pull you right to a section that'll handle that, right? So it's just really beneficial. Check if whoever your provider is. A lot of times they have some type of app to help you control your internet. Very good question. I'm going to send you a follow-up email like we do with everybody. If you, for whatever reason, are still having issues or have more questions, shoot me an email back. We're always trying to make sure people are getting resolved fully in our process. We're going to move through our queue a little bit further. We've got a bunch of folks jumping in. We appreciate you guys on that. Jump to techiamolabs.com/live if you have a technical question you need answered. We're helping people fix their consoles, phones, laptops, GoPros. We've fixed so many things. I've helped people with washers and dryers. Everything's got chips in it now. I've probably got a good idea. We've worked on so much stuff. It's always worth a shot, is what I say. Next question goes to 8 on, what is this, TikTok? Yeah, TikTok. The device is Roblox. I get a kick when you guys do that on the device thing. I don't know why. When I play Roblox, it goes 50 ping to 2000 ping. And when I switch to 4G, it's normal. All right. This one is probably easy. You're just experiencing a buffer bloat spike. It's pretty normal. You might be... If you're on a 5 gigahertz and you're far away from the router, that's the problem for sure. I see that a lot. When you're switching to 4G, it's completely private dedicated lanes. So, it's not going to be clogged in the same way as the 2.4 or the 5. But a lot of people will be on the 5 and they'll go to the furthest edge of what their 2.4 can even reach to. And you're not going to get good anything. Make sure if you're far and you're on the 2.4, I would probably go in and actually change my DNS settings there and kind of prioritize that device a little bit. Hardwire it, though, if at all possible. That's going to be the number one fix if you're far away from the router, especially. But yeah, it just sounds like you're dealing with that 5G nonsense. And listen, I'm not a hater of 5G. I think it's really practical, especially if you're close by. I think people end up with a lot of issues with it, though, because they'll expect it to work further out than it actually does. And it just gives you crazy issues if you try to do that. So, all right. We got about 30 minutes left in our live tonight. If you want to jump in our queue, you know what to do. techiamolabs.com/live. We are getting through these as fast as we can. Let me get some of these other guys approved. I learned my lesson early on not to let you guys post things openly in the open without having some type of stop between you and that. People do some weirdness, unfortunately, and like to almost get me kicked off of things. Let's see. If you are new here, all we do is help people figure out their technology. Follow us if you can. We're new to Twitch. We're new to YouTube. We've been on YouTube for a while. We got like 100 and almost 200 followers now. Thank you guys for that. By far, our best platform is TikTok. Love you guys. I don't know why we do so well on TikTok. Probably all the jump cuts that all the other people hate. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Next question goes to user 7631166334327. The device is an Eero. Can you help me? My Eero disconnects and reconnects right after effectively locking out of school tests. But DFS switching is an automatic function in it, so I can't adjust it. Oof. All right, so first off, DFS, dynamic frequency selection. First off, good feature, can be kind of bear to deal with. Basically, it's a feature where your router shares a specific ultra fast 5G wireless channel with local wait, local weather and radar stations. It happens all the time that way. Um, Basically, your system is trying to figure out where to put you. They're trying to figure out their stuff. If you live near anything like that, you're going to get constant disruptions. Um, by law, I think it is. If your Eero detects any radar activity nearby, it has to instantly abandon that channel and switch to a different one to avoid any interference. So you're probably, it sounds like you're encountering something like that. Make sure you're not facing something like double NAT. I want to make sure Eero has a pretty good app. I've not messed with it for a while. You probably have all these tools at your disposal, though. Um, Go in there and do a channel scan. That's the first thing. Uh, if it's running into an issue, you're probably just hitting the wrong channel. A lot of those zeros are kind of designed to work out of the box. What I'm gonna do for this one, because it's kind of open what your issue could be. I would probably hardwire to test certain things if at all possible. Uh, but truthfully, if it if it's DFS, I mean, you're kind of cooked on that. You might have to move to more hardwired stuff if that's the case. I had a business that worked near airport, and that was basically the solution. Was we're gonna hardwire everything. There's just not another way. It was mostly their cameras that they were running into issues with, and I mean those are data sucks. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send you that follow up email. Make sure you get back with us on that. I want to ensure that we're getting you resolved completely with these things. And some of those zero issues, I like issues with devices we don't encounter a lot on here because it kind of gives me more stuff I can learn on the backside, honestly. And Eero's one of those, they do a great enough job that I don't have to deal with them super much. So we'll be in touch with the email. All right. Elliot Jr., PS5. It shows my internet good. It's at 5G, but when I'm in games, it lags. All right. So, first off, force your band selection. I think that's probably going to be where we want to start with this one. On your PlayStation 5, you got to go to settings, network, settings, set up internet connection, and hover over your Wi-Fi. Hit the options button. That's the one with the three lines on your controller. And change the Wi-Fi frequency bands. Same thing to what I was talking about earlier. If it's going to toggle between two, you don't want that. I would switch it to the 5 gigahertz only. This forces the console to stay kind of locked in a high-speed lane and helps stop that from fluctuating overall, which is going to kind of keep you in the right way there. This one is a good one to change your DNS settings. I've been look, I'm gonna have to break up with Google in this live. All right, guys, it hurts, but I'm gonna do it. I think Google servers, that's the 8.8.8.8 and the 8.8.4.4. I think Google servers used to be king. At one point, maybe I just misremember it. I remember when I would do that as the kind of alternate path, it worked phenomenal all the time. Um, I think I have to retire that though and move to Cloudflare fully. I get way better response out of Cloudflare. I see way more people getting better response out of Cloudflare as well. In your setup, you might be able to change the DNS settings in your ISP provided app. Otherwise, what you're going to do is you're going to go to your web browser, type in the IP address of your router, and it'll take you into login like your normal Wi-Fi, password, and everything. And you go in there and you can actually change it to the Cloudflare as your primary DNS. That is 1.1.1.1 as the primary, and the secondary is going to be 1.0.0.1. Been seeing so much more benefit out of Cloudflare. In fact, you know what? I am going to try Cloudflare on my PlayStation later on this evening. I've got a PlayStation 4 I've been running, and I haven't tested that recently. I'm also on Google Fiber, so that might actually be an interesting test on my side. See which one of those it prefers. The Google Fiber might prefer Google servers. That might just be the way that is. But that would mean that unless you're backed up to Google in some way as an ISP, that may not be an issue. So, well, hold on. Let me write that note down because I definitely want to test that. Let's see. All right. Well, Elliot Jr., I hope that answered your question fully, or as fully as we can on live. I'll send you the classic follow-up email, so if you have more questions after the fact, you can actually jump in and we can see what we can actually do to get you over the finish line there, bud. I think a lot of folks end up kind of in weird boats that they don't necessarily need to be in. But we'll see. All right. Me lost my place here. All right, guys. We're getting closer and closer to the end. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. If you have questions about your tech, you need some help, jump to techiamolabs.com/live. You can jump in our queue there, and we'll get you guys helped out as soon as we can. We are getting later in the episode, so what I like to tell everybody is that about this point, we may not get to you tonight. And listen, I'm sorry, but we'll be back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the same way we're doing this every single day. Because I want to make sure we're getting all of the tech issues figured out and resolved as quickly as possible. So throwing that out there, if you have yet to jump into the queue, you may not get help tonight. We're kind of at the end. But you will be probably one of the first people in the cockpit tomorrow. We don't have that many people actually in the queue right now. It kind of dies off at the end of the night after we've worked through most everybody. I think people see our clips and then sign up through the night and all that. So do what you will, but I like trying to help people fix their problems, and a lot of you guys have problems. So techiamolabs.com/live. Jump in the queue, and we'll fix your tech issues best we can. We follow up on the email with everybody to make sure we're actually helping you with the best of our ability. We'll send you any relevant stuff we have, PDF, guides, whatever we got. We try to make this a one-stop shop. It's hard to do. I'm not looking at your device. So when you go through our queue, make sure you're putting in the device that you have specifically. Make sure you're being very detailed with the issues you're actually running into. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get through the last few people tonight. Want to respect your time. The next person is Splex with a PS4. The PS4 sounds like a jet engine taking off every time I launch a game. Should I be worried? Well, okay. Yes, you should be a little bit worried. That's not a good thing at all. but not because it's going to blow up, not because it's going to actually take off and anything like that. But that noise is a cry for help. You're talking dust wall clog for sure. Probably all over the heatsink on those models. I think that on every PlayStation 4 model, that's the issue. PlayStation 4s at this age bracket might also have bone dry thermal paste. So if you've been playing PlayStation 4 this whole time, check that, you know. It could just be that, but it's probably dust. It's nice. I think the way Sony has kind of moved in the PlayStation 5, they've made dust cleanup way easier. But what that actually means for a lot of folks is on the older devices, it's not as easy. So, but still, nobody really does it. So if you've not cleaned your PlayStation or your Xbox or any of the devices that we talk about, clean them. That's a huge, 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 huge thing that you can do to actually advocate for your electronics, just in general. But Splex for sure. That's what you're talking about there. Dust or thermal paste for sure. I'll send you that follow-up email. If that's not the case, I want to know. I really do. All right. Let's see here. Next question goes to Sam G47, Xbox. My Xbox Series X turns on, but I just get black screens on my TV. I tried a different HDMI cable, and it didn't fix it. All right, first off, if you can, guys, if you're having a monitor issue specifically, throw in the monitor as well. The more information, the merrier. I might still tell you to look at the manual, but in many cases, we at least have a little bit better information on the front side. First off, I would force a low-resolution boot. Check to see if there's a disk inside the console. If there is, press it, take it out. Next, turn your Xbox completely off. Just hold the power button for 10 seconds. Once it's completely dead, press and hold the button. Hold the bind button. That's the sync button in the front. And the eject button at the same time. And just keep holding it. Tap the Xbox power button on front. Keep holding the bind and eject for another 10 to 15 seconds. Do not let go until you hear second power-up chime a few seconds after the first one. Once you hear the second chime, let go. If it works, your TV's going to light it up in a basic way. Blocky, it's going to, I think, 640, 480 is bad. From there, you just got to go into your display settings, bump it back to 1080p or 4K, whatever you're using, and you should be good to go. You can check for the blind port failure. Basically, this happens periodically. You're going to want a flashlight for this one. Look at the center plastic tongue inside of the port. The Series X is heavy. If it ever took a tumble, that kills that port 100%. Like, it happens so often. If the port looks perfect, if the video reset failed and the port looks just perfect under flashlight, you're probably looking at the I'm trying to remember what it's called. HDMI remitter IC chip. It's on the motherboard. It's a pain in the butt to do. You can probably fix it yourself. That's not, I think that's like an 8 or 9 pin. I'm not sure. Anyways, you could probably do it if you're competent with that kind of stuff. But take it into a repair shop. It's completely fixable. That's the great news on that one. So keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. All right. We're getting through here, folks. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Next question goes to Marky Mark. I'm sure it's not the Marky Mark on a Nintendo Switch, nonetheless. My Switch Joy Cons keep drifting, but I don't want to buy new ones. Is there a permanent fix? All right, Marky Mark. So here's the good news, actually. There is actually a couple different fixes to this. First off, I think you need to do deep cleaning. People don't really do that on controllers like they should. Uh, Controllers they're in your hand the whole time, man, and you're destroying it with your sweat, your nasty grime, the dendrites that fall off your skin along with your dead skin. It's all kind of getting crapped in the nooks and crannies of your controller there, and it's kind of combining with sweat over time, and you're just kind of in a boat where you uh, don't have the ability to use the controller as you would have otherwise. So keep that in mind. I would probably take a. This is how I can do all of my controllers. Okay, same process each and every time. I take a toothbrush that I've only ever used for cleaning. Do I have it in here? I don't have it in here. It's only all I ever use for cleaning. For this specific task, I'll take isopropyl alcohol for 70% or 90%. I prefer closer to 90%. You want something that's going to evaporate faster. Um, just take it, dip the toothbrush into the alcohol, and then take the toothbrush out after you've taken the batteries out of your controller, of course, and then scrub, buddy. You're going to want to use that and get into the nooks and crannies. For the Joy-Cons, rotate the actual sticks around. Make sure that you're in a boat where you're kind of working, rubbing alcohol into the space and also trying to work stuff out of the space. A lot of times it's just grime. A lot of times it's just grime. Uh, Try that. Try that. You can also try to remove the shell and get deeper in there or replace it fully. I've seen people do that. It's not too bad of a deal overall. Um, you can do the Hall effects upgrade as well. I've seen that work out for people. But yeah, listen. If that's the only issue you're having, Marky Mark, with your Joy Cons, I would keep them. I wouldn't buy new ones. Not at the $85 they are now or whatever, unless you get them on like a good deal or get like a crap fake one or something. We don't want that. So yeah, a little bit of rubbing alcohol goes a long way in this case. Give that a shot. Give that a shot. I might do a tutorial on some of this stuff. It's hard to fill tutorials. I get hate for not doing more of them, but it's really hard to film them. It's harder to edit them too. I run into that a ton when I'm doing these. Let's see. We've got a bunch of people still in the queue. We're going to work through as many folks as we can. I appreciate you guys being here tonight. Let me see. Get people moved in that have paid and are not saying vulgar things. We get too many kids coming across our content for that nonsense. So please be kind. Don't say bad stuff. I don't like to have to censor people on here. That's not my job. We just want to help people get tech help, you know? Our goal was to get at least 20 people help tonight, though, and we're at 22, and we still got 15 minutes on the clock. So, smash that goal. Love it. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you want to jump in our queue for tomorrow, go to techiamolabs.com/live. You can jump in there. We do charge for you to do that. It's 99 cents. And then you can jump ahead of everybody too if you'd like to. I suggest doing that, especially I've not seen a lot of this yet, but it has worried me. People doing that like right at the end of the live and unseating somebody who then has to wait until the next day. Uh, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, next question goes to Jerry Smith Real. PS5. My PS5 turns on, the blue light blinks, and then it just shuts off completely after a few seconds. Is it dead? No, it's not dead. That's the good news. Um, uh, it's not working right now, but that's what it is. It's on a protective lockdown, basically. You're witnessing a feature called power rail collapse or latch off state. Basically, it's your device just trying to prevent itself from being permanently broken, which is a good problem to have. We wouldn't want it to burn itself out and then have to replace something more. First off, make sure what I would do. First off, are you instant dying or are you delayed for 3 to 5 seconds in dying? It sounds to me like you're closer to the 3 to 5 seconds. If it's less than 1 second, we're looking at the 12-volt main power rail. That's just it. If you're out 3 to 5 seconds, you're getting some blinking lights. Even if it's like an inconsistent blinking light, we're looking for a blinking light here. You're looking at a secondary low voltage rail, something like the 1.8 volt standby or the RAM power lines, honestly. Any of those could be the issue. If you feel comfortable pulling open your device and you have a multimeter tool, I would use the diode continuity mode. There's a bunch of guides online on how to do this, but you can kind of plug it around and see which one has failed. Either one, pretty easy to fix. Well, I say that as somebody who's fixed a ton of devices. You could figure it out. It's not hard. But you could also just take it into a repair shop and know too. A lot of times in knowing the diagnostics of a device specifically, I think what benefits people when they do have to go get a repair is, first off, you know exactly what to tell the technician, so they're not wasting man hours hunting for the problem, right? You already kind of have a great idea. Now, some of them may redo some of these tests. To be honest, there wasn't a service like what I provide now back in the day where you could kind of get coached on figuring out what's going on with your device. But I feel like I would have maybe, if you sounded like you knew you were talking about when you walked in, I'd probably take your word on a couple things. That's actually it. If you didn't really sound like you knew you were talking about, we'd have some issues. All right. We've got Caden on here. Devices Xbox. Hey, okay, this is the first, It's the first time I've had somebody comment using our queue. Caden, thank you so much. Cloudflare is generally better for higher speed downloads over the Google DNS. True. That's, yeah, exactly what I was saying earlier. I think the DNS myth is that it doesn't kind of speed up the pipe. It just, like, it's not changing the raw data power behind anything. It's just kind of hooking you up to a better phone book, if you will. I think that's kind of the best way to look at it. But yeah, so yeah, I've been seeing that all the time. Actually, everybody on here, comment down below if you have had better luck out of Cloudflare or better luck out of Google. I want to know, genuinely. And this will be a clip later too, so if you're seeing this, comment as well. Cloudflare DNS is the 1.1.1.1, the 1.0.0.1, and Google's is 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4. The big thing is I feel like a palpable drop-off for the Google DNS servers over the past several years, and it's kind of sad to see, because I think they've done a lot of stuff. I'm going to do some tests, like I said earlier today, too, because I really want to see if the Google DNS works better on the Google Fiber I've got. It wouldn't be weird for them to have preferential treatment, but the Cloudflare, it's just so much more snappy. Also, I'm saying this as somebody from the States. Google has more of a global capability. So maybe if you're in a different country, you might have a different experience too. So actually, that's what I want you to do. Comment down below your region and which one works better for you, because I'm curious. I just want to see. I want to see. Um, from what I've been seeing, though, I'm pretty close to saying that I prefer Cloudflare at this point in time. So I agree with you there, Caden. Appreciate you hanging out and playing along with this. Let's see. We've got a couple more questions that we're going to get through tonight, and then we'll cut you guys loose. If you want to jump into our queue for tomorrow, it looks like we don't have that many people left over, so you'll probably be one of the first people we help. Go to techiamolabs.com/live. We'll be there at 7 o'clock or as close. I think we were late today by like a minute. Sorry about that. Very prompt person otherwise. Sometimes technical glitches, man, they get you. They get you. And if that's brought you here tonight, be honored to help you. techiamolabs.com/live. Jump in our queue there. We'll get you guys going. That's really the goal here. Especially gamers, you know. Unless you're playing Fortnite against me, in which case I'm going to sabotage you. That was the whole goal here. We're not doing this for any other reason. Just get the good gamers out of the game. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Probably a terrible joke to make on a live like this. All right. Next question is Jimmy F. Device is a Switch. My Switch won't turn on or charge at all. It's just a complete dead black screen after sitting in a drawer for a few months. Ooh. Okay, so electronics don't like being dead in a drawer for long periods of time, first off. So keep that in mind. It wears them out still, and somehow faster. If you're trying to charge it using a standard phone charger, though, you got to kind of know. You got to get a better charger, probably. You want to make sure you're getting at least 15 volts. I've seen people move to, if it was in a drawer, you might be using a phone charger. So see if you can use the official cable that comes with it. Leave it plugged in, first off, for a few hours. Make sure that it's actually taking a charge. Make sure you may want to look down and make sure that you don't have any something in the charge port blocking what you're actually trying to get at. I think sometimes USB-C is phenomenal, but it's also really good at having weird stuff getting stuck in there. If you had a unit that was in a drawer, this is less true if you've had a unit in the dock the whole time, right? That's just, you're probably looking at a battery issue. But because it was in a drawer, if it's a well-traveled unit, you might have a lot more mixed up in there than we wish. So maybe take a look at that. Look in there with a flashlight. Do a hard reset. That's the other thing. Truthfully, I don't like resetting stuff. I don't like telling people to reset stuff. It always sounds bad. It sounds like you're going to lose data. You're going to get mad at me for saying this. You should be good on this one, though. What I would do is press and hold the physical power button for a full, 30 seconds, man. Just keep holding it. Don't let go early. Count it out if you got to. Set a timer, whatever you got to do. But 30 seconds. Let go of the power. Wait for 3 to 5 seconds. Then tap the power button once normally. See if that kind of comes back workbench-wise, okay? I think you could have a damaged USB-C port. That happens a lot, man. I hate it. USB-C is pretty resilient towards a lot of stuff, but it does get broken still, so it could be that. Let's see. Did you say, was this a Switch 1 or Switch 2? Doesn't say. I'm going to guess Switch 1. You might be looking at a blown M92 T36 power chip too. That happens sometimes. If any of the other stuff was not the solution, that might be the issue if it's not a battery. I would take it to a repair shop to do that repair unless you are willing to risk it for the biscuit, in which case I suggest you go full throttle, Jimmy F. I am a huge fan of doing repairs. I think more people should be willing to risk doing repairs, especially when they've decided that they're going to throw away their device or buy a new one. It's not everything's savable. It's just a matter of how much time and money you want to spend to do it. That's really what this channel's about. I've had people pay me to put together old Atari systems, just for childhood memories or whatever, right? Once you kind of know your way around stuff, it's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. So, if you have, listen, I really jump in on that and hone in on that a lot more when we're talking to a completely dead unit. Makes it a lot easier to talk to, because you're probably already considering getting rid of that device and getting into a new one. And that's the best time to learn. You have no risk. You've already decided that it's dead. So what's the risk in not giving a shot? Listen, if you're unwilling to, if you're going to throw away a device, hit me up first. I'll take it. I'll take it for free. I love taking broken electronics. You mass enough of them, you can get a working unit. That's the great thing about knowing these skills. So if you're in a boat where something's broken, that's the Techiamo Labs way. Try to figure it out. Try to see what's going on. See if you can figure it out. It's not hard. Truthfully, I like doing this process with you guys on here because I feel like we're getting you to the 90% in like a couple of minutes. You know, I just told you what power chip is probably failing if it's not your battery and if those other things don't work. If you've ever wanted to risk trying to replace a chip, that's the one I'd try. I'm just saying. No, you've not tested a whole bunch of stuff, you know, but you got to learn somewhere. And that's kind of the message here. I think humans have a tremendous resiliency, and we're going to lose it if we let the robots and the AIs take all the jobs. I kid when I say that to some degree, but too many of you guys are too smart to have to go buy a brand new Switch because of a silly little power management chip, honestly. That's how I felt. That's why I got into this. And look at me now, you know, it's kind of worked. I keep old junk electronics and keep them fixed in a great repair. I don't have to, I'm still running a PS4. Not a lot of people are doing that. I know I deal with people who've bought 2 and 3 PlayStations now, PlayStation 5s now. That's a lot of expense you don't need to be spending, and that's my point here. That's the whole point of this brand. Stop spending money on replacing tech for a little problem that could have been fixed. Anyways, if you've not jumped into the queue yet, you want to do it so that you're first person in the queue for tomorrow, techiamolabs.com/live. That's where you can do it. We are signing off for the night. We are at 9 o'clock even. It's been a pleasure helping you guys out. I'm going to send you guys some follow-up emails, hopefully in the next hour or so. To be honest, we had a lot more people. 25 questions today, so appreciate you guys hanging out, getting through this with us. We're going to get better and better at this and make sure that we're fixing more and more devices. I'm David G with Techiamo Labs. I'll be here tomorrow at 7 p.m. to fix your tech as well. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good one.